Okay, so eventually you wound up in Memphis. And can you tell me how you ended up here exactly and what made you want to stay?
Well, I ended up here because my sister was living here, and at the time I spent a couple years in Birmingham, and uh, I had a band down there, and that kind of like they all do. Eventually, sort of, we went our separate ways, and I was just hanging out down there with not a lot to do, and my sister was living here, and she said, "Why don't you just come up to Memphis for a while and give it a shot, and be close to family, So I did it, and really had no intention of playing because I'd been kind of burnt out with being in bands and trying to, you know, um, trying to, make a go of it and being frustrated. So I wasn't playing, and then next thing I know, I was playing, because Memphis is just the way it is, It's just like, even though it's not on a lot of people's radar outside of Memphis, you don't hear as much about Memphis anymore as maybe you did when there was a real recording business here back in the 70s and 60s or whatever, but it is still very much an incredible music town, and the most incredible music town that I've ever been a part of. So it really it just kind of snowballed from there, and the next thing I knew, I was writing again, and I had a great band. I met Mark Stewart and John Hargroves, and we started the 145s, and I've played with those guys longer than anybody I've played music with. We've been together for the lineup changes depending on who can do the gig, but I have been playing with those guys now for, God, I don't know, maybe 5 years, which is probably longer than I've played with anybody. And Jack Yarber, I've been playing with him for 4 or 5 years now too. So.
Okay. So what do you think it is exactly about Memphis that makes it different?
I think it's a mix of cultures. I think that makes the music interesting. You have a mix of black culture and white culture, and you have a mixture of regional, a regional mixture. It's not really the deep South. In a way, Memphis is kind of in the middle of the country. That's obviously why there's some, FedEx is here. It's right in the middle of the country in a lot of ways, and it's literally a crossroads. And I think that's contributed to all these different elements meeting here and making the music interesting. And but I also think there's an X factor that you can't put your finger on about Memphis. Something I can occasionally get slightly mystical about it. It's you can't put your finger on it, but there's something special about it. There really is, that you can't quantify.
Okay, so I know that B.B. King is one artist from Memphis that has been particularly influential to you. And are there any other artists from Memphis that you find?
Pretty much all of them. I mean, anybody that recorded for Sun Records or Stax Records or High Records or at American Studios, Chips Moman and his crew, all of those records. All of those artists, and even before that, the blues era, Bobby Bland, all of that stuff. I would say if you went through my iPod, it's like it's ridiculous how much Memphis music is on there, and it's been that way for me always. I've always been into Memphis music long before I ever came here, But and the stuff, Memphis stuff, that's happened in recent years, I mentioned Jack Oblivion, all of his bands, Oblivions, Compulsive Gamblers, Harlan T. Bobo, just a ton of great Memphis music. Jim Dickinson and all the different things he's worked on over the years, it's incredible the amount of really amazing music that's come out of this town.
Okay, so I know from just listening to your music that a lot of it sounds like it's influenced from the 50s and 60s and stuff like that. Is that a sound you consciously try to make, or is it something natural or authentic?
Well, it's a little of both. I think my voice naturally just sort of falls into some of that. I think my voice lends itself to that kind of music, and also that is what I listen to a lot of. So naturally, you are what you eat. So if you listen to a lot of a particular style, your stuff is going to tend to sound like that. But also, you can be conscious of it too. Like I am conscious of those things. So sometimes I go, well, we're going to go full on. Let's go full on Charlie Feathers with this one, or okay, let's go a little more Buddy Holly with this one, or whatever. You could, you. So it's a combination of it being natural, but also you can be conscious of it too.
Okay. So why do you think it's important to keep making music?
Well, the world needs songs. The world needs music. It's one of the pleasures of life, and you can learn about yourself from music. And learn about other people. And what they go through, and these are all important things. And an important part of life, and people need it. So. And Memphis is particularly good at it, and has a particularly special way of doing it that you don't find in other places. So I'm, not being a Memphis native, I always consider it an honor to be thought of as a Memphis musician, and I take it very seriously. Like I was lucky enough to get to know Jim Dickinson briefly before he passed, and he was very insistent that if you travel around the world or around the country or whatever, go to other places playing music, and you're from Memphis, you are representing an entire history of music from this place, and you need to take that seriously. And that's always stuck with me, that even though I'm not a native, I am a Memphis musician now, and I try to do right by that.